Good afternoon, ladies and gents. I'm going to read you a short press release statement. Following the end of the 2023-24 season, Tottenham Hotspur FC as a club have decided to part company with head coach Angelo Peruzzi. On behalf of everyone at Tottenham, the club would like to place on record its gratitude to Angelo and his staff for all of their efforts during their time at the club. Angelo will rightly have a place in Tottenham's history after reaching the FA Cup final and qualifying for the UEFA Champions League last campaign. We believe, though, that with this springboard, the time is now right to go in another direction and with a new man with new tactical ideas in charge of the team. A new head coach will be announced in the coming days. Thank you. Hello, welcome back to the DOF Spurs save, and we've done it. We've made the move. Angelo Peruzzi has been sacked as our head coach, and we're going to replace him. It's not a decision that I've taken lightly. In fact, I'm still maybe a little bit wondering whether it is the right decision after all. I guess the proof will be in the pudding. We'll find out after this season, but we've decided that Peruzzi is not going to take us any further. I felt like we were maybe just a little bit limited. I think that you guys sort of agreed with me in those comments on the last video, in the community post that I did, in the tweets that I put out, in the Patreon conversations that we've had. Is 5-2-2-1, was it holding us back? I think it might have been. So we've made the decision. Yes, he finished the season well last year, but he's shown that he's got weird team selections in him. He's shown that he's just going to keep playing this 5-2-2-1. I think a change was needed. You guys, I thought a change was needed. So a change has been made. We have appointed a new head coach, and it's Will Still. Welcome to Spurs, Will Still. Did you know that Rants are currently paying him €22,000 per game until he gets his continental... the memes, right? I feel like we're going to remind you of that fact every time. If you've been following football in the past few months, you know who Will Still is, and I think it's quite exciting that he was available on the game, so we've appointed him as our new head coach. He's willing to come in as the assistant manager. He was one of the few actual managers that would come in to be an assistant manager for me. I've done it organically. He was available in the game, and I think it is going to help us. Now, I've started to compare him to Peruzzi. The big change, the big difference, and what I think is going to make this hopefully work is the fact that he is going to play a 4-3-3. He's still got a tiki-taka style, which is similar to, well, it's the same as what Peruzzi wanted to play, but with this 4-3-3 and it being slightly more meta, I hope we're not going to be held back by that 5-2-2-1 that Peruzzi was playing last year. He could play a 4-4-2 as well. He is slightly better in his tactical knowledge as well, which is the one big change from Angelo Peruzzi. Let me go back and compare him, because I mean, we are limited by managers that want to come in and be an assistant manager. I could go to the editor and bring in a real manager. Maybe that is still something we will do later on down in this save, by the way. But I kind of want to do it organically if it's available. And Will Still being available, I like the storyline. He is, Belgian born, but English as well. He could come in and he wants to manage in England. He's done great with Rants. He's currently got a bit of a media profile with how well he's doing in Ligue 1. I like the storyline. I think I'm going to like what he does with the club as well. Let's compare him, look, as if I highlight his roles as a manager. In terms of people management, Peruzzi is slightly better. In terms of judging player ability and potential, they're very similar. Peruzzi is slightly better at judging ability, but they have the same potential. I think they're similar enough that this can work with the different formations and tactics they're going to play. The big one being the tactical knowledge is 15 compared to Peruzzi's 12. I hope that's going to make a difference here. The motivating on both is good as well. 17 for Will Still and 18 for Peruzzi. Let me know in the comments down below. Are you on board with this appointment? Are you excited for the future with this appointment? I'm pretty excited. This save, I felt like we had to try it. This type of save is all about the players you sign and the transfers you're doing, but also who you bring in as your head coach. And we've tried it with Peruzzi. We've got fourth. We've got to an FA Cup final. I felt like we have to try it in this save and go in a slightly different direction and see if it works. I'm going to establish for one season now some very clear objectives for Will Still, and if he doesn't meet them, we are going to change again, and maybe we'll do that thing where we bring in a real life manager using the editor, potentially. I think we should aim for Champions League qualification, top 4 definitely, and I almost want to say he has to win a trophy. Is that pushing it? I mean, looking at the team that he's got, is that pushing it? Let me know in the comments down below. I know that I ask you these things as well, but it's really good to kind of gauge what you guys think as well in this type of save, especially you guys who are the board members over on the Patreon. Thank you to everyone who has signed up for the Patreon, by the way. Loving that support. It really, really does help me out, so thank you for that. Will Still is the new Tottenham Hotspur manager, and we're going to go now and make some signings for him that hopefully fit his 4-3-3 system. I'll see you when I've done a bit of transfer business and I've set up his tactic in our tactic screen so we can have some discussions about where we go from there. I'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. Okay, so I've actually just gone a couple of days, but I have done some significant business already, ready for Will Still to take over as our head coach then. Some transfers out. Let me show you some of this transfer business then, and we can have a big chat in today's episode about where the club is and what we need to do next, about what we're going to do this next season. So as you can see on the screen right now, there's a lot of activity going on in our transfer activity hub or screen, if you like. The big ones then, let's go from the top to the bottom. I say the big ones and then start with Adam Hayton, who is a young goalkeeper. He is leaving on a free. Fine. Ryan Sessegnon, his contract is expiring at the end of this season. He is joining Vallecano in Spain, so he's leaving on a free. Do we need more backup left backs? He's barely played any football, Sessegnon, whilst Peruzzi was the manager. So I'm not too upset with this, but it does maybe leave some spaces in the squad. Something to consider. Harry Winks is also on his way out. Now, I believe Harry Winks was homegrown at club, so it is another one of those, but he's been out on loan at Sampdoria and then he's joining Brentford now for £1 million. He was on decent wages as well. He's on 90k a week. So we are going to have a load of money to spend once you see all of the other players I've let go as well. But the homegrown thing is definitely something I'm going to be considering. I've got some ideas and I've made some bids for people. I'm going to come back for a couple of other people. Just know that that is in the back of my mind when I'm thinking of our transfer business for this summer too. I've got a good plan and I think we're going to be fine. Harry Winks leaves. Now, two big players exiting. The first of which is maybe a bit of a loss. Rodrigo Bentancur is going to Manchester City. Now, should we be selling to our rivals? Possibly not, but they've bid £42 million for him. We had a bit of an auction for him. I managed to get his price all the way to £42 million up front, no instalments. We're getting £42 million to add to our transfer kitty for the summer, which is already up to £126 million with some of the sales that we've already done. Bentancur to City, big sale. We'll say goodbye to him. Maybe we need to replace him in that midfield. We do have a load of midfielders, if you think about it as well, though, don't we? With Jude Bellingham and Camavinga and Ward-Prowse and Bissouma, and there's loads, is what I'm saying to this, right? Højbjerg also, though, is leaving. I think the final straw for me was when Peruzzi brought him on at attacking midfielder, played him as a 10 when we needed a goal in that FA Cup final. I think that might have been the final straw. Maybe one of the final straws that made me think we need to sack him. Not Højbjerg, but Peruzzi. Højbjerg, though, is also leaving. £17 million straight up, no instalments. He's going to Monaco, and I'm not too upset with it. I think maybe we could have got a bit more, but he's 28, and I just don't think he's going to be a starter, especially if we're going to continue to do the business that we've been doing in the past few seasons. 17 mil. Hopefully, Spurs fans, you're not too upset with that one. He moves on too, but replacements are in the works. Not necessarily for these midfielders, but Marcus Edwards is... I've just spoken to him about a contract. I've made the contract bid, and he looks like he's happy to come and join us in our squad. Now, the reason for this is we are lacking in wingers. If I show you the setup of the team, I've put them into this 4-3-3 DM wide tiki-taka system that I think Will Still is going to go and take on and use in our future matches. We've got some friendlies coming up, by the way, once it ticks over, that we'll check on Will Still's progress. Is he using this system? We will be able to check it by going to the form and having a look at the player roles. But I would guess it's going to be something like this. A back four then now, no longer playing that back five, where we've got Costa in goal, Udogie, Bastoni, Guardiola and Porro. We've got good backup centre-backs already. Guardiola could be Silva and Bastoni could be Romero. Those are all right-hand side. If you wanted to play two left-footers, you've got the Bastoni, and I quite like the Bastoni-Guardiola partnership. I think that is so good. This defence is like... I mean, this squad is a bit of a dream squad. It's a bit of a god squad. I don't know... Is this why I'm expecting us to at least win a trophy? Is that shouldn't be over the top, right? If we're going to play a 4-3-3 and the squad looks like this, I surely think we can win a trophy, especially if we go and strengthen it too with all the money that we've got to spend. I've put the players that are staying, by the way, on the bench, the players that won't be leaving in the summer, because there are a lot that are leaving. Forster, Lloris, Bentancur, Højbjerg. Troy Parrott actually is staying, but I just didn't add him to the bench there. Sessegnon and Perisic are all going. Perisic is retiring at the end of the season. Another left back. So, I mean, we don't really have any left back cover here. So we are going to need to come bring in some... Well, we haven't got a right back or a left back. Oh, we got Jed Spence, I suppose, for right back. We haven't got any left back cover, though. So fullbacks might be something to look at. I suppose Guardiola could play left back as well, though, couldn't he? Pretty well stocked is what I'm thinking here. Midfield, though, Camavinga, Ward-Prowse, Bellingham. We've also got McAllister on the bench. We've got Basuma. We're pretty good there. Maybe one more so that we've got a replacement for each of the three. I think I'd be more happy with. Then, on the wing, we didn't play wingers before. So we've got Heung-min Son on one side, Kulusevski on the other side. If these don't play, that's kind of it. Really, we've got Troy Parrott. So I think a winger is definitely something we need to look for in this window. And then potentially a striker as well. I've seen a few of you telling me to go and sign a new striker too, because Harry Kane is now 30 years old. Heung-min Son is now 31 years old. They're not getting any younger. And I think we might need to go and bring in some new young blood, which takes us back to the transfer we're bringing in. Marcus Edwards as one of these wingers. He is homegrown at club, which is why I really like the look of him. I did a search to look at who was available. In fact, I'll show you on here. I did a search of who was available as a homegrown player. There's me looking at some wingers. We'll come back to that. Homegrown players trained at Spurs who are interested in us. If I go by world reputation here, there's not a whole load is the answer. Marcus Edwards is right at the top of that. Gareth Bale, bring him back one more time. Not so sure. But if you go to not interested yet, I am going to be keeping an eye on Kyle Walker-Peters. I talked about needing new wing backs. He can play left back or right back. He's only just joined Brighton in January, which is why he's not interested now. I think when it ticks over, he might be interested in us, and I think he'd be a really good signing to beef out the squad with another homegrown player. That was my plan. Anyway, Marcus Edwards being the other part of that. And then finally, I've made a big offer for Benjamin Sesko. Is this the natural next big replacement for Harry Kane up front? I love Benjamin Sesko in FM. I think he's going to be the next big thing in real life as well. He's very me. If you watch any of my videos, 6'5" and fast and can finish. This guy he's the meta for a striker, and I think he'd score a lot of goals for us. He might be one that can only transition into the team long term, maybe bring him in as a squad player, a bit like Rasmus Højlund. But after that, he should develop into one of the best strikers on the game, and I think he'd be a worthwhile investment this summer. Let me know if you agree. I saw somebody did suggest it a few videos ago as well. Let me know if you agree in the comments down below. But Benjamin Sesko is my big striker option to hopefully bring in this transfer window. And then the final thing that I think we need to do, maybe not even the final thing, we'll look at once we get all the money. Did I miss anything actually? Just to show you anybody that did leave later on. No, it was Ben Davies in January, the most recent exit. Nobody's come in yet in this window, so you're all up to date on transfers. I was just having a look as well, though, at players that could play on the wing. Players that were interested in us and could play on the wing. Let me just show you the list, and then if anybody jumps out and you think we need to be trying to sign them, let me know. Obviously, Kylian Mbappe probably not going to be interested. There are some huge names that would be considering us as a potential destination for them, which I think is intriguing. Players like, let me just let it load here. Players like, as I scroll down, Kvicha Kvaratskhelia and Rafael Leao. Two players that I absolutely adore in FM that would be so good for us. They would cost a lot though. 161 mil for Leao, 200 mil for Kvaratskhelia. Probably a little bit outside of our budgets, to be completely honest. But the fact that they're interested, I just want to keep an eye on in case. I mean, we've got a load of money coming in. If I show you here, we've got £25 million coming in even after we signed Sesko and Edwards on top of 126 million. We should have about £150 million to go and spend and a load of wage budget. I might even be more on wage budget because of Perisic leaving too. Pretty much the bottom line is we've got loads of money to go and spend. I need to go and beef out the squad. That's what I've done so far. Let me know if you like that business. I guess I'll go another couple of weeks. Try and get it to go to the tick over day. See if Kyle Walker-Peters is interested. Maybe just see if the prices of any of these players on the screen here come down. Players like Kvaratskhelia or Leao. There are other ones. There might even be more that become interested. Yeremy Pino is a fantastic player on FM. Maybe even him to play on one of our wings. I think then we're building a team that should be good enough to win the Champions League. Whether we can do that with a manager that is an assistant manager remains to be seen. But I love this save so much. I'll see you in a couple of weeks when I've done a bit more business. Okay, so it's the 1st of July, and I've stopped here because it's actually Will Still's first game in charge as our new head coach. I've scheduled a fixture, a friendly, against Stade de Reims, his former team, if you remember. And I did want to mention as well how he did whilst he was the manager at Stade de Reims on the game. He got relegated, which is why he lost his job and got sacked, because I've not got the 2nd division in France turned on, and they sacked him at this stage. They actually finished 17th in this season, which was the 22-23 season, the first season on our game. A little bit unlucky, 39 points, 2 points away from being safe. They got relegated and then sacked him. If I go to their managers here, you can see, look, he was there for, doesn't actually say how long he was there for, but he was sacked after not winning. His win percentage, not amazing, 28%. So am I getting slight worries about how he's going to do here? No, not yet, because the team that we've produced is going to be so strong. We're going to find out if he's going to play this 4-3-3 that he says he prefers by having a look how he does in his first friendly today. I did have high hopes to see who he was going to pick, and then I realised it's the European Championships, which is going on until about the 15th of July. So we will go to the end of that today in today's video so that we can find out who wins that, and also hopefully see how he does when he's got most of his players at the club. So far in the European Championships, we're at the quarterfinal stage. England are going to play Wales. Norway or France are going to play Italy or Croatia. Spain, Portugal. There's some big derbies in there. Even Holland, Belgium, a bit of a derby. Some great draws in this European Championships. We'll find out who wins that anyway. But for now, in terms of our team, our tactics, this 4-3-3, it's most of them are international duty. Sesko is here though, so some of the new signings have joined. Sesko has arrived. Marcus Edwards has also arrived at the club. He is homegrown as well. I did check, which is cool. And I know that a lot of you might be thinking this. I did check Noni Madueke as well, who is of course also a homegrown at club Spurs former player. He wasn't interested in joining, and he's just joined Brighton in game. So maybe one for the future, but not one that we could actually sign at this stage. So before you comment, maybe you've already commented, just to mention that one. There is one other new signing that I need to show you, and that is Victor Christiansen, who is a left back who I went to Director of Football up here, our little workaround, and asked Will Still who is his preferred left back signing, and he did say Victor Christiansen. So here he is. He has joined pretty cheap actually, £11 million. It was about £5 million up front, and Manchester United were trying to sign him at the same time as well, which made me think he's actually pretty good. Having a look at his profile too. He starts at Copenhagen, where he's played a load of games. Still only 21 years old as well, which I quite like as a signing. He's going to be the backup to Adoji in our squad. Think it's a smart signing. I'm quite happy with it, really. There are still, though, transfers to be done. You can see the squad is now a little bit light. A lot of greyed out players in this squad because so many now have departed. With the transfer window officially opening, some players have now left. They are Sergio Reguilon has gone to Fiorentina, £16 million. That was part of his loan deal. Harry Winks, we talked about before, has moved on. Richarlison, right at the last minute, Valencia decided to use the clause that they had in his loan contract. £12.75 million. He joins them permanently after doing okay, to be quite honest. They paid us £1.4 million to have him. He scored 16 league goals, 19 all comps, so he's done all right there. Didn't really have a future here. I guess he could play on the wing, so maybe that would have been an option, but he didn't play under Peruzzi, and he had that loan clause in there so that they could sign him. So there you go. Pape Maté Sarr has also moved on. If I go back to the end of last window, we can see those ones that I talked about before. Højbjerg and Bentancur have gone. Alfie Whiteman went on a free, and most recently, there's our signings. Edwards, Sesko and Christensen, which have all gone on to last year's window because we hadn't ticked over to the new season yet. I think there's some exciting ones there. £55 million is what we are guaranteed to pay for Sesko, but it was about £20 million up front. A lot of that is in installments, and some of those is after 50 games as well, which I think by that time, if he plays that many games, he's going to be worth it because he will have developed into such a good player, as he usually does, Sesko, doesn't he? I guess, though, with that in mind, I just need to continue to think about other players that we want to sign. Kyle Walker-Peters still not available, still not interested in joining us. I was looking at some other options too. Haven't really decided on who exactly, but we do have so much money to go and spend. Look at this wage budget, £675,000 in wages to still go and spend. If I put that into the transfer budget, it's £134 million. We can go big on another player here. Do you think we need to? Where do you think we need to, really? Is it another midfielder? Is it a first choice striker? Is it one of these wingers? I still think it might be a winger. Heung-min Son did pick up an injury for 4 to 5 weeks. He's now nearly back. I suppose, though, I'm going to... Do you know what I might do? I might make the... I might unfilter out the under-21s and under-18s. If I unpick this now... How do I do that? Clear the team selection. I'm going to go a day on so that we can find out what system Will still uses and maybe some of the player selections too, just to see how he's going to set up this team. Have I got it right with my predicted tactic here, which is this 4-3-3? Let's go one day and see if we beat Stade de Reims, his former team. Okay, so we've played that game against Reims and, well, we lost. Is this worrying? I know a lot of our players were missing and this team, maybe it's set up so well because he was there previously, but we've lost the first game of Will Still's reign as manager. We were maybe the better team, but we ended up losing it 2-1. Better XG for Reims as well. Look, they had a penalty, so maybe that's in there too. Basuma got one back. The team looked like this. It was Scarlett up front, Edwards, Spence, Kulusevski in midfield, Basuma with Ward-Prowse. He did play the 4-3-3 then, so as we expected, Musa, the youngster, Evans Musa, one of our youth intake players, our only real good youth intake player playing there. Okay, it was a young team. It's not a full strength team. Sesko came on, got an assist. Maybe a little bit worrying that we did lose it though, but he is playing that 4-3-3. One thing I want to check, who played right wing in that game there? It was Jed Spence playing right wing. I just want to see what role he is playing in because the default 4-3-3 tiki-taka preset tactic plays with an out-and-out winger on that side, whereas most of our wingers are inside forwards or you know, they play inverted on those sides. I do wonder if he's playing an out-and-out winger on there. Okay, no, he is playing an inside forward. Okay, this is one of the things with Peruzzi, by the way. I know a lot of you did suggest to go and look at the form to find out what the roles were. Peruzzi last year was changing the roles pretty much every game, so there was no real nailed down role for me to go and recruit for. So the different midfielders in Peruzzi's 5-2-2-1 were changing every single time. Both defensive midfielders were changing from ball playing midfielders to defensive midfielders to DLPs. Both attacking midfielders were always changing too. So it was a little bit tricky. What I kind of need to do in terms of recruitment is to pick up players that are maybe quite versatile and can play different roles and are going to be good in all of those roles to kind of show that and make sure that that works. I will check as well. It was Dane Scarlett that played up front, wasn't it? Let me check what type of striker he's playing there. Because with Kane, he's more of a deep line forward, isn't he? Dane Scarlett played as... Was it Dane Scarlett? I feel like it was, but maybe... Oh, that's under 21s. All teams. It was a deep line forward. Okay. So he did play as a deep line forward and then he was off on 45 minutes. Replaced by... Actually, let's check this too, because this is part of being a director of football, actually. These are the things that you need to look out for and kind of make sure you're on top of. It was Sesko that came on and did play as a deep line forward. So I think he's quite well suited to that DLF role because of his height, because of he's got decent passing and off the ball and things like that. But maybe something to bear in mind as well when you are doing your recruiting. Speaking of recruiting, I'm going to go and continue doing all of that recruitment now, alongside bringing in a load of new scouts, by the way. We had loads of spaces, so I do need to keep bringing these in. I'm going to go through the staff as well and see if I can make these the best in the Division 2, something that I'm working on as well in my role as the DOF. But now I think my next part of this is going to be, I'm going to go and play all of these friendlies, or Will still is. I'm going to come back for Fulham on the 10th of August when I should have done some more transfer business with all of this budget that we've got to spend, where the team should be ready to go for a new season. And we're going to go and see how he gets on in the very first game of our new season. I will see you on the 10th of August. See you then. All right, so it is the first day of our brand new season. It is the 9th of August. And we've played all of our friendlies. The friendlies have gone well for Will Still so far. In fact, he's only conceded 1 goal. He got off on a pretty bad foot losing to his former team. Since then, though, 11-0, 9-1, 4-0, 3-0, and most recently 4-0. Some of these teams decent as well. He's played Celtic, he's played Lyon here. You can see the team that he's picking for these friendlies. He's gone strong, and he's gone close to what I'd expect as maybe my strongest team as well. Maybe Romero out and Guardiola in, but Romero being right-footed, maybe he will be first choice in here. It's not a bad problem to have, is it? And it seems like this 4-3-3 is working quite nicely. You got goals from Bellingham, Son, Kane, and then Basuma from the spot. He's taken penalties, apparently. All bodes well for Will Still, and I've done some more transfers as well. You may have noticed it, maybe in some of the players that played in there. But I talked about going big for a new winger, didn't I? I've I've gone big for a new winger. We have signed... This is ridiculous. Rafael Leao. I pointed him out. I talked about how much I liked him. It was him or Kvaratskhelia. And we've spent a lot of money. £135 million guaranteed. It could go as high as £165 million. We had all that money. We had all those wages left over. I would regret it if I didn't spend it. We've now invested in the future in a big way. 25 years old. He is one of the best wingers, I think, that you can buy. Could also play up front as well, couldn't he? 6'2", pure pace, great dribbling, first touch. I mean, look at his profile. Look how good he is. He is one of the best young talents in the world, and we spent massive money on him. It is outrageous money. I've also signed another youngster, by the way. Vita Roque was available with his minimum fee release of 18 million. I thought, you know what? We don't have that many strikers now, and I do wonder. I don't think he will, but we did sign him when he was 18. I don't think he would become homegrown at club, but I kind of wanted to just look out in case he did. I have started to put my scouts on to look for players that, if we sign them early enough, would become homegrown at club later on, just to kind of go with that sort of side of things as well. I know it's still an issue that we do need to solve. Part of that issue as well was Kyle Walker-Peters, who just isn't interested in joining at the moment, and we don't really have the money to go and sign him. I might come back and try and sign him. I did do a deal for him, which was structured so that we would be able to get him right now, but the board cancelled it because they didn't want to pay more than his £25 million release clause. So I think we'll come back for Kyle Walker-Peters. Maybe if we sell Jed Spence, who has got some interest. Alexis McAllister as well. Loads of interest this summer. Villa made a bid for him. I think Juventus were linked to him. A few other teams too making a play for some of our players. But pretty sure that is all of our transfer business done now. One or two things might happen, but this is the start of our new season. I've put the players in for what I think is my strongest 11, and we saw the team that he picked for that Lyon friendly. I think he should go with something that is a bit like this. Costa in goal, Porro, Udogie, wing backs, Guardiola and Bastoni. As I mentioned, it could well be Romero coming in, who is really, really good. Romero himself as a centre-back, really strong anyway. So if he starts on the right-hand side, I wouldn't be too upset with it. Camavinga, Ward-Prowse, Bellingham. Could well be McAllister, who is injured at the moment, out for 3 days. But as that roaming playmaker, I think he'd do a good job in there as well if we wanted to. Bissouma also could do a great job in that midfield. In front of him, though, or in front of these guys, let me just put Ward-Prowse back in. Kulusevski off one side, could even be Son. Easily be Son on this side. Leao on the other side, could easily be Son on that side as well. They can definitely interchange on these wings. Leao, it looks so good. And then up front, Harry Kane or Benjamin Sesko, if you do fancy that as well, which we have got options. This squad, and it's now quite a big squad as well. I've managed to bring in enough players to make it a good squad, like Christensen as our backup left back. Highland we didn't even mention as an option as a striker. This squad is so good. I'm now going to clear it completely as to not influence what Will still does in our very first game here. And now I've moved over to Watching Man. We're going to go have a look at this first fixture. We kick off the Premier League season, by the way, on the Friday. We're going to attend it as Watching Man. We're going to find out and watch it together. Can Will still win his first game in charge at the club? I'll see you at where are we playing? Craven Cottage. I'll see you there. All right then, here we go. We are at Craven Cottage, match preview. Let's have a look at this lineup from Will Still. There is the Fulham team. I am always aware that this will probably be wrong on this graphic here, but let's have a look at the players that he's picked. Is it wrong on here? Oh, it actually looks like it might be correct. You know, he's gone Romero and Bastoni at the back. It was Harry Kane at striker. That actually looked like it was probably the correct lineup. Maybe because of his better tactical knowledge. I'm not sure. I think it should be down to what Watching Man has anyway, right? Either way, it's Kane, Son, Kulusevski as the front three. No change there. Camavinga as the left-sided midfielder, he's left-footed, actually. I did wonder if it's going to be Camavinga deeper rather than Ward-Prowse, but he's gone this way around for these three. Udogie, Bastoni, Romero, Porro as the back four. Costa in goal, of course. On the bench, we have got Leao. So he's not picked Leao, actually. That's a good point. Didn't really consider that to start with. Leao not making the starting lineup, even though I spent over 100 million on him. Is that scary? Maybe. I'm sure you'll get into the team at some point. I'm sure. Will, please don't do anything silly. We're 1-0 down. I say don't do something silly. Fulham are in the lead. I did wonder if it's going to be offside, but Mitrovic has just scored a header. Do we give him time, right? And I talked about before, his aim for the season is top 4 and a trophy. top 4 in a trophy and he keeps his job. If not, we're having very serious discussions about his future. I think that's fair. Let me know if you think that's fair in the comments down below. I'm already a little bit nervous that we are losing to Fulham on the first day. Look how strong this team is, and we're losing to Fulham. Worrying. It's been pretty close. Only a shot on goal each. A shot on target, 1 apiece at half time. Do a good team talk, please, Will. I'm scared. We're not winning. We're not winning, and this is kicking off the season, of course. We've got the Friday game here. That Fulham team's decent, but it shouldn't be making us look silly. Corner. Okay, this is where we can bounce back. It's in towards Camavinga, I think. Headed away by Adarabioyo. Bastoni with the effort from centre-back. That's our only highlight so far. No changes yet. He's brought on Leao. There's the change. Leao is on. He's moved Son over to the other side, so it's Kulusevski who's gone off. It is Leao then introduced for his debut. Didn't join all that long ago, so I suppose maybe that's why he started on the bench. Can he make an impact now? There's 15 to play. We've still only hit the target once. Will still... have we made a grave error? Get rid of Angelo Peruzzi? Surely not. Ward-Prowse. Free kick. Camavinga. It's bouncing around. It's cleared. That was a real good chance. Still doesn't even register as a shot on target. Now we've had 2. That might have been the chance. It looks like... And now it is confirmed. We're going to lose. There's Will still there. Like I saw his little ginger head right through the back of that graphic there. We've lost our first game. When we had Peruzzi in such good form. Form that was good enough to take us to the top 4. Now we're losing, even though I've strengthened the team. I'm scared. I'm scared. What do you think? Let me know in those comments down below. I guess, though... I've just got to go and let them continue. The next video is going to be at January. So about halfway through the season when I've played a load of games. Unless I need to come back sooner because I've sacked him. I'll see you in January. If you are enjoying this save and enjoying this series, please do leave a like on the video. And make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're still here watching right now, you must be enjoying this. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. As I record this, we're on 38,000 subs. My aim is, can we hit 40k? Which would be really, really cool. Please subscribe if you are enjoying it. Leave a like on the video. Leave me those comments. I love reading them. Thank you so much for watching. Please be good, Will, still. Please. I'll see you next time. Have a lovely rest of your day. Bye-bye. Please be good.